So, welcome to the main cut. I'm your host, Jade, and today I'm here with award winning TV and editorial hairstylist Keisha Mines. With over 20 years of experience, Keisha has worked across a range of different events and occasions from the Southern Women's Show to Richmond and New York Fashion Week. And her work has been featured in the likes of Modern Salon, Behind the Chair, and many, many more. And, besides this, Keisha has picked up several awards from the Beauty Awards as Editorial of the Year to Willow Bay's Creative Hair winner. And today we'll be talking about how she's worked her way through the industry for the stylists who are interested in following a similar path. So welcome to the show, Keisha, and thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We're really lucky because I know the life of a stylist is a busy one, so thank you for coming and coming back. But for those that aren't familiar with you or your work, let's start by, tell us a bit about your journey into the hair industry. How did it all start? How did you get to where you are now?
I've always been a hairstylist. I think I was born to be a hairstylist since I was young. I've always been a very creative child, and I decided to go and get my hair license. I went to college first, and I still was doing hair while I was in college. So I was like, you know what? I really love doing hair, so let me go ahead and take the chance and go ahead and get my cosmetology license. So I went to hair school and never looked back.
Oh, I love that. I feel like that's a running theme with a lot of the people that we speak to. It tends to start on people like really, really young when they're kids, and then they just see it through. So, was there anything that happened when you were growing up? Were there any things that you did when you were a kid that just made you fall in love with hair?
So, of course, I always thought that I had the best Barbie dolls. My doll babies were the best doll babies. No, none of my cousins' dolls could top mine. So I had something there. I had a cousin who would always say, "Why are you so young and you can braid hair better than me?" I always thought that was so funny. She tell that story all the time. So I just feel like I've always loved to do hair, even starting off with my dog and just being creative, growing up. And I always talk about this too. When we was young, I took one of my cousins, caught myself doing a trim. And I mean, I thought her hair looked fabulous. Okay. But she definitely had way shorter hair than she did when she came to my house. And we got punished for that. But I mean, to this day, I still think her hair looks so amazing. So I think I just always loved doing hair even since I was small.
No, I mean that's fair. I mean, you know what? To the young you, I'm sure that was an amazing hairstyle, and I'm
It was
sure that
amazing.
it's it's a memory that will stay with you and your cousin.
Forever.
But I mean, since the days of you exploring hair when you were younger, you've built yourself up into like a really impressive editorial and TV career. So can you walk us through one of your earliest breaks and what it took to land it?
As far as editorial, so it was kind of hard to find photographers in my area that did the things that I wanted to do. And when I did not New York Fashion Week, but Richmond Fashion Week, I was able to meet and network with some models who connected me to a photographer that's in Virginia Beach. And he does a lot of editorial things. So what I would do is just go into his DM and like anytime you need a hairstylist, even though it's like a 2 hour drive from where I live, I was willing to drive if he would allow me to come. And one of the Weller reps, she told me about the Weller competitions, the editorial BEA awards. Well, no, first it was
Yeah,
the What's Next awards with Sebastian. And
right.
so she was like, I think you should try out. By this time, I was able to do some work with Low, which is the photographer that I kept worrying in his DM. And our very first shoot together was one of the pictures that I entered into the competition. And it got me
Uh,
in the competition. And then that year was the first competition I ever did. I won. So
Amazing.
the momentum was like, okay, if I can do this, I'm trying to do this all the time because it just felt so good to be in that space.
And I mean, hair competitions, that's not something that I think people hear much about. So can you
Right.
kind of talk us through what that actually looks like?
So Wella always have competitions. They don't do the What's Next Awards anymore, but they do the BEA Awards every year. And so basically, they give you like a mood board or a theme, and of course, you have to use their products as well. And you
Right.
just come up with some ideas that goes with the theme that they have, and then they go on. People go online and vote for you, and then whoever get the
Right.
highest marks, then they get to go and try out in person. And that right there, that experience is insane.
Okay. And I mean, so in that environment, so you'll talk us through what a competition looks like from the eyes of a stylist. So from the moment you get in, what does that look like? What is that experience like for the people that might be interested in doing that one day?
So usually when you get picked, I know with the What's Next Awards, I'll speak on that one because that one was more like hands-on.
Mm,
With the What Next Awards, you get there, they pick your model for you, so you have to come up with something, and you didn't even know what kind of model you was gonna have or what the hair was gonna be like. You
oh
literally
wow.
got the model, you got to meet the model the day before. So that was like,
Oh,
okay. So then I go to my room and I'm like, okay, this is my model. Let me come up with some ideas. Let me try to figure this thing out. And then the next day was the competition. So you actually had 3 hours to come up with your idea. You had to come up with a makeup look and the outfit for the model. Now, mind you,
oh,
I do hair, so I had to figure out what makeup look makes sense with the hair and what makes sense with the outfit that they had. They provide everything that you need, so it's not like you have to get anything, but you just have to come up
mm,
with something off the fly. And so with
wow.
the What Next Awards, this was funny because while you're doing the work and trying to come up with an idea, you
Mm,
have Modern Salon, you have all the different big brand magazines asking you questions while
mm.
you're working.
Oh wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So what do you think? What is your ideas? And I'm like, in my head, I'm like, ma'am, I'm figuring this out as I go. So but it was so fun because I love fast paced environments and I love that energy that's in the room, and I love vibing off of other stylists. And even though it was a competition, we still was helping each other as well. So I just feel like you get to learn how to work in those fast-paced environments. So I love it.
I mean, it's a completely different environment to be in when you see a model the night before, you got 3 hours to put something together. That's not a lot of time to actually think creatively. That,
Yeah.
that's not a lot of time.
So you got to come up with something, and I think that helps with your creativity, like to test your creativity and like make you think
Mhm.
fast. And I like being in that type of environment. So.
Right. I mean, and for any stylist who's listening who's actually interested in getting involved in more of these kind of competitions, where can they find them?
Well, like I said, with Wella, they're having a competition that's going on right now. BEA Awards is every year.
Okay.
Um, and so I believe it's the entries has started now. Then you can always do NAHA. I don't know if anyone, I'm sure people know about NAHA. So NAHA is like the biggest awards that's like a worldwide thing. And you get to
Mm,
enter into that in different categories, whether it's haircuts, color, editorial, avant-garde. I mean, it has every category that you would like to be in, and you just try out.
mm,
And I
mm.
always say, try out no matter what, because it tests your creativity, whether you make it in or not. It doesn't matter. The whole thing
Yeah,
is to try. And so, yeah,
yeah. No, 100%. And I mean, for those that are listening who haven't done that before, don't worry. We will add links to these in the newsletter so that you don't have to scramble on Google to go find them.
yeah,
You'll be able to find them in the newsletter as well, so you can take a look at some of these competitions. But thank you for sharing that. Because, like I said, I feel like that's not something that you see very often in the industry,
hmm,
are these competitions. And it must be a great space to also learn from other stylists because
yes,
you're seeing other people applying their technique and it's a place to learn from them.
yeah, yeah. I love it.
So no, so thank you for sharing that. But I mean, talking more about like textured hair and things that need to be done behind the scenes, especially given, we're going on to shoots, whether it be like editorial, whether it be campaigns. We're not at that place yet where textured hair is always represented and has the right people in place to look after it in those environments. So how do you advocate behind the scenes when you're working on shoots or sets where that knowledge might not be the standard?
I mean, I'm always willing to help anybody that wants to be helped.
Mm.
That's the T. If you want to be helped, I'm willing to help because I feel like I can do all different textures. So I'm willing to help anybody that needs the help. So like I said, if I can provide any help or any advice to anybody that needs it, I'm always willing to help on set or, behind the camera.
I mean, what are some of the things that you typically see over and over again in those settings when people that clearly haven't been trained in textured hair struggling to do? What are the things that you see them struggle with usually?
So I can just speak on one particular time I was doing a show
Mm.
and a couple, I'll say maybe about 4 or 5 of the models had really short natural hair.
Oh.
And the style was basically a 2-strand twist, and that's easy to do if the hair is a long length. But if you do not know how to manipulate natural hair, it can be a challenge. And
Mm.
so what I saw is they was just like, oh, okay, we just gonna put some sheen on the hair and fluff it. We're not gonna try to attempt to give that model the same look as the other models. And there's ways to do it, but if you don't know, you'll just say, I'll put a little oil on it and go. Well, the
Mm.
particular the what is he, the designer, he came in and he noticed that their hair wasn't done like everybody else's. And he said, I want this done. Like I want it done
Mm.
like theirs. And I was
Mm.
able to do that because I've started off braiding hair. So I've been braiding hair since I was small. So I
Yeah.
know how to catch the shortest hair. And so I was able to, yeah, and I was able to do that. And I felt so good in that space to be able to, make, do what he wanted to be done versus just sending them out there with a little oil on the hair, which I think wasn't fair. So
Yeah. And I mean, it's good to also see that there are people who are like the creatives that are fighting for that
yeah,
because, it takes that person that's got the creative control to say, no, they don't. They need to all look the same. They all have to
yes,
have the same style, so that has to be redone. And
yes,
then that opens up the door for people to learn because otherwise, like you said, people just be like, oh, this can't be done versus saying they don't know how to do it.
correct, correct,
And that feels like a recurring theme, which is people question the hair before they question their knowledge of the hair.
correct, correct. Instead of going to get the knowledge and learning how to do this is because I know when I was in hair school, natural hair was not taught in hair school. You either knew how to do it
Mm,
or that's it. Like it wasn't taught.
mm.
And so I love the fact that they're pushing, a lot of people are pushing for that to be, you know, a mandatory thing to learn because all textures should be taught in hair school. Just that's just hands down.
Yeah, it should be. It shouldn't be a case of people can walk out of hair school without understanding what all textures look like. Because the reality is, if you're a stylist, anyone should be able to come and sit in your chair and you should know what you're
Correct.
doing,
Correct.
you know?
Absolutely.
Um, and it's a shame that that isn't. I guess, we can all say that things are getting better, but it's still not at the point where any black or brown person could go to a shoot, go to a set, and feel confident that there will be
Correct.
at least one person there that knows how to do their hair.
And then they don't have to bring their own products because
Yeah.
you have to they okay, well, what products are y'all using them? Oh, y'all don't have okay, so now I gotta bring my whole bag with me. Like I might as well do my own hair at this point. If I gotta bring everything with me, it's crazy work. Everybody wanna
Yeah.
feel like, have the same feeling of being pampered just like the next model. So yeah,
Mm,
everybody should know how to do everybody's hair, period.
100%. And I mean, what's the one lesson that took you to like a while to learn as a stylist that you wish you had known earlier?
Um, Yikes. What took me a long time to learn? I think that, oh, okay. I don't know. I can't think.
Oh, that's okay. Take a minute. That's okay.
But it took me a long time. Okay, so I know this is kind of going veering from like actual hair and texture and all of the things. I feel like what we don't talk about in our industry is finances. And so for
Mm,
me, that's a big thing. And I've been working really hard and very diligently to like work on my finances and making sure that I'm set up properly so that I can be able to go to these different shows because you have to have money to travel, right? And so
yep.
sometimes we're not able to do those things because we're not set up properly to be able to move the way we need to move when an opportunity
Mhm.
comes. So I think that's a really important thing that we should talk about a lot in our industry that's not talked about so that people can
Mm.
be able to get to those opportunities that's when they come.
Yeah, no, 100%. I firmly believe that like one of the biggest struggles that stylists have is that they're naturally creative but not naturally good business people.
Absolutely.
And it's wild because there's so much money in the black hair space. So in theory,
Absolutely.
there shouldn't be a stylist struggling.
But they don't teach in a hair school. It's not something
That's
that's taught. So if you don't grow up in a family that focus on not just business but just finances, period, you're gonna miss it, right?
mm,
So you're kind of
mm,
learning as like everything that I know because of learning as I go and just knowing that I want it better. But I
mm,
wasn't taught anything. So everything that
mm,
I'm learning on my own, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
if that's not something that is taught in your community, then it's hard for you to even make that a priority, if that makes
yeah.
sense.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I think what happens is like people tend to have a bad experience and then they focus on it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
like they get like a tax bill that they weren't expecting and they hadn't put enough like money aside for it, or something comes up and it's like, oh, I can't go to that event, but I should be able to afford to because I had enough money to. And where did
Exactly.
that money go? It's those things that then make people focus on the finance. So it's like it's more
Mm-hmm.
reactive
Yeah,
instead of being proactive.
absolutely. And I want to teach proactive finances
Mm,
to my hair community, especially as Black
mm,
stylists, because I just feel like I know me. I grew up in poverty, so my mama sometimes didn't even have a bank account. So to
mm.
learn all of that stuff, literally by myself, or as she got older, things changed. But coming up, we didn't know about that type of thing. So yeah, I think that's a biggie for me.
No, I mean that's a really important thing to say because I'm willing to bet money on the fact that half of the people listening have felt the same thing but not said it. So, like I
Hmm.
said, it's just important that we talk about it more. But that actually leads nicely into my next set of questions, which is all about the business side of styling, because there's the
Hmm.
creative side, which is great, but the business side is where a lot of people struggle. So, you've worked across like salons, freelance, editorial, TV. How do you go about pricing your work across those different projects? Because they're all very different.
Um, I the way I look at my numbers is what I need to make for the year,
Mm,
right? So trying to factor that and break that down to know what I need to make for the year.
hmm.
Also, just being in the community that I'm in with Black on Set, Naima gives us a lot of intake on what that looks like as far as working on set and how we should price
Right.
and things like that. So it just really depends on the situation. How would you
Mm,
charge? But just being in a community where people can teach you how to do that. And like I said, with Naima, she really helps break that down for us a lot in our community. So that's kind of who I go to when I need advice when it comes to pricing.
yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. And I mean, one thing that I've heard stylists say is that campaign work is the work that pays the best versus things
Yep.
like editorial. Have
Yes.
you found that
Editorial
that's
don't
the case too?
pay that much. Yeah, editorial, if you're doing like a magazine or something like that, that's not really where the money is. You
Interesting.
need to be I always campaigns or working with celebrities.
Right.
that type of thing. But sometimes like the editorial stuff, it doesn't pay a whole lot. It's really more to get your name and stuff out there when you do those type of things.
Right.
So yeah,
Okay. I think that's again really important to bear in mind because there are people that, yeah, it's not just how much you make in terms of like your pricing, it's where you put yourself. If you just put yourself in editorial, for example, that might put you in a position where
yeah,
you can't afford
right,
to do the things that you need to do.
right. Editorial alone is not gonna cut it.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, that's good to know. Good for the stylists that are listening to know. And I mean, one of the big things is also balancing the creative work with the admin slash business side of things, like contracts, invoicing, negotiating with brands, because it's a lot to do, especially when you're a one person band. So, how have you tried to balance your got to go out and I've got to do hair with the I need to get this admin and these numbers done.
Oh my gosh, it's really hard to be honest with you. I'm in a, anybody doing assisting. I'm looking for an
Mm,
assistant because I just feel like I wear a lot of hats and
mm,
it's a lot of work. And like I said, thank God for Naima. I'm just gonna keep saying her because her and Crystal Wright really helps us out. I can call them if I need any help with figuring that thing out. You know what I'm saying?
mm,
Because trying to do it yourself is really, really hard. That's another thing that I've learned in my time in this career that I can't do everything myself. And you will get
mm,
burnt out so fast by trying to do
mm,
everything yourself. It's insane. So now I'm learning that I have to reach out, ask for help, you know what I'm saying, and get people to help me figure that thing out because I didn't know at first how to do those
mm,
things. So just being in a good community that helps you out, I think helps a whole lot when it comes to knowing how to do your invoices and all of those things. So and a mentor, yeah,
mm.
having a good mentor. So my mentors
Yeah,
really helped me figure that out. So
no, that's also a really good point in terms of like how mentors have a huge impact on not just your opportunities, but like the trajectory of your career.
mhm,
Because if you've got the right people giving you great advice, then that helps you to make better decisions.
right.
So how did you've mentioned Naima, you've mentioned Crystal. How did you go about bringing them in to your circle so that you had two incredible mentors by your side?
So I've been following Crystal forever. And then I just decided, let me join her Win Now program that she has. And I started there first, and then I ended up doing individual work with her. Um,
Mm,
and we've been connected ever since. And Naima actually was in the program as well. So that's how I knew about Naima.
yeah.
And a lot of my stylist friends, they know what I want to do and they know the things that I'm trying to do to go to the next level. So anytime it's
Hmm.
like a competition or anything like that, I was literally on vacation when they told me about Naima's Black on Set competition.
Ah,
One of, yeah,
okay.
yeah, one of my friends contacted me and was like, you need to go ahead and try out for this competition. And I'm like, I'm on vacation, but I'm going to do this. I literally jumped out the pool and told my daughter, come on, I need you to help me videotape this so I can send this off because I need to send it off today. So
Ah,
that's how bad I wanted it. Even though I was on vacation, I was like, I'm going to sign up for this. And that's how I ended up in Naima's mentorship program. And
amazing.
it's just been really, really good from, having her on the outside to help us
Yeah.
through, manage all of the things.
No, I can imagine. And I think one thing that people take for granted is the fact that, a mentor, having a good mentor isn't just somebody that's got a name, it's also somebody that's willing to do the work with you and
Yes.
support you. Because not everybody's going to start in the same place. Some people are going to start with more or less knowledge, and it's like them
Mhm.
having that patience to take you or be with you on that journey as you're trying to grow and progress as well. So
Yes.
having the right person makes all the difference.
A big difference, a very big difference.
And I mean, for the stylists who want to build a personal brand or position themselves as experts in some way, what business moves helped you to gain visibility and credibility in the industry?
Well, definitely the competitions. I know for a
Mm,
fact the competitions help get your name out there.
right.
Even if you don't win, you're on the platform, so you actually people actually see who you are. Um,
Hmm.
Always going to shows. If you can afford to go to shows and classes, you have to do it. Like you can't just sit in the
Mm,
salon and hope and pray that something's going to come for you. You have to get out there and you have to do it and you have to do the work. And even if you, because I know sometimes I feel like I'm doing the work or I've done the work and I'm still doing the
mm.
work, and some things is not happening as fast as I want it to, but just keep doing the work. It has to pay off because that's just how the universe works. So,
Like that. I think there is definitely something of people being prepared to do the work for long enough.
hmm
And I also feel that it's partially because we always see the end result. We see
exactly.
the campaign, or we see the
Yeah.
style, or we see the celebrity walking the red carpet,
hmm
but you don't see the weeks, years, months that that person was barely getting paid, or,
That
that
part.
they chose to go and live with their parents for a while until they had enough money to live by themselves again,
Yep.
or, you don't see that struggle that people go through, you just see them when they're there.
Right. And
So people
I
also just
wish
want to
people
be
would
there.
show the struggle more. Might
Mm.
have to tap into that. Show them the struggle more. Because I got a lot to share. Because the struggle is real. Okay. But I'm not going to give up. I just can't. I have to keep moving, and also learning when to rest. Right now, I feel like I'm doing a lot of editorial work right now
Right.
because I need to focus on some other things. So it's okay to rest because sometimes we
Mm,
think, you got to keep going. And that's me. I'm talking about myself. If I'm not
mm,
working, I'm not doing what needs to be done. But I also got burnt out trying to do it,
mm,
running a family, running a business on top of trying to do work outside of the salon. So it
mm.
can be a lot, but I'm not going to give up. So I'm giving myself a little rest right now, and I'm resting, trying to put everything in perspective, and
Right.
then I'm going to get back to it. But I'm never going to give up, though. Never.
Yeah. No, but I mean, you touched on two things there. Let's go back to the struggle because I feel like that is something that people, like you said, they don't talk about enough, and people just
Mhm.
want to kind of like click their fingers and be there in the position they want to be in. So,
Right.
what are some of the struggles that you've had to fight against as you've been building and growing your career?
Just really finding my people, because
Mm,
all hairstylists is not into editorial or want to do campaigns and want to do movies,
mm,
and you have to find your people. And I think in the area that I'm in, a lot of people just it's cool with just doing hair in the salon, and I want so
right.
much more than that, right? And
Mm,
so finding my people, finding photographers that wants to do this, and makeup artists, because I mean fashion designers that want to do the same thing so that
mm,
you can collab with, because you can't make a portfolio without a collaboration. And if you don't have
right.
money, you can't pay for a photo shoot. So the best way to do that is to collab. So just finding the right
Mm,
people that want the same thing that you want. And it took me a long time to find a team, and I'm still looking to work with other people as well. But yeah, finding a good team that wants pretty much the same thing that you want so you can build that portfolio to get your work out there was really, really hard in the beginning.
yeah, I can imagine, especially because, like I said, especially when it comes to like photographers as well, right? Because photographers are, of all people, they are not cheap. Um,
Mhm.
and so it's almost like, how can you find the photographers that are doing the work, and then you can offer yourself as a service, and then you also get the photos for
Right.
as part of it because you've not charged them. So were there any times that you had to do that and that was just like a way of you getting your content and getting some of your portfolio done?
Oh, absolutely. That's what collaborations is. You already know if it's a collaboration, you already know nobody's getting paid. That is not a paid gig. A collab is literally so that everybody in the collaboration get what they need and be able to
Mm,
use. But the thing is finding the right people, because you can do a shoot and sometimes it's not giving what you needed to give. So
mm,
um, also learning how to shoot things yourself, which is not very easy for me, but just trying to
mm,
figure out how to use a camera myself and do little small shoots myself. That was a challenge
mm.
as well. So yeah, I just really think you just got to find your people and then keep trying, because I mean I've tried a lot of people. Some things worked out. Sometimes I was at the shoot all day long and I didn't get a photo. You know what I'm saying? But
Mm,
learning how to do contracts, because people don't think about doing contracts when you're doing
yeah.
even with a collaboration. You can do a contract saying, okay,
Mm,
this is the contract saying this is what you get, this is what you get, this is what you get, and make it seal
mm,
the deal. Because I've been burnt a lot of times by photographers who say, okay, we're going to shoot and da 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 da, and I never seen the
yeah.
photos to this day.
Um,
And I'm side eyeing you. I know who you is, and I never forget you.
But I feel it's really sad when things like that happen though, because you would think that as a fellow creative, photographers would want to give back once they've gone through that.
Right.
Not to say that all photographers do that, we're not going to paint them all with the same brush, but you're not the first person that I've heard that said that. It
Hmm.
seems to be a common thing that if they either don't like the photos, they don't share them, or
Right.
if they don't want to, they don't share them. So it's good for people to have those contracts in place to protect themselves.
And also, I didn't know this either, but I learned that when a photographer takes the picture, they actually own the picture.
Mm-hmm.
So even in a collab, that's why contracts is so important. Even with a collab,
Mm,
it's good to do a contract, because then you know what you're. Because I mean, the photographers I work with, I haven't had that issue
yeah.
now, but in the past I have. But just to make sure that you know what you're getting, that contract is so important. Like,
Yeah.
yikes. Yeah.
Think of it as a form of protection. I think people consider things
Yes.
like contracts a headache, but it's not a headache. It's a way of protecting yourself, right?
Yeah, because a photographer can take your pictures and go about his business, and you're like, well, I did this and I did that, and it doesn't matter because legally they own the picture,
Mm,
which is I
yeah,
didn't know that. So that's
yeah.
that's something for people to keep in mind when they shooting and doing collabs. That
No,
contract is gonna
honestly,
save you every time.
every time because nobody wants again if they're people are legally tied to something, they then don't want the headache of what comes afterwards if they
Right,
don't do what they
right.
said they're going to do.
Correct.
Um, so no, that's all really helpful. I think that's great for people to know because I'm sure there are a lot of people that have done collaborations, not had any contracts in place, and then wondered why have things been so slow? Why has it taken so much
Hmm.
of this time or that energy? And a contract will kind of put a halt to that.
Yep.
So very important one. A few questions like career related questions for stylists, but for stylists who want to move from say salon work to editorial or freelance, where should they start when they're thinking about making that transition?
Well, I would say contact anybody that you want to work with. Figure out their email information, contact them, blow them up, be in their DMs, go in their emails, send them wherever their the info like emails, send them emails, and don't stop until they see you. Because I know Crystal said you
Mm.
ain't did it seven. If you ain't did it 7 times, and you have not told somebody about what you do 7 times, you ain't doing nothing. Don't even talk to me about it. Okay. So staying consistent, and connecting, trying to connect with people that you want to work with. I mean, a no could be just a no for right now, really. So
Yeah.
consistency. They will remember your name if you in that DM or they're like, dang, she back again. And it's,
Yeah.
hey, you got any work?
Yeah. But I think again, like there are so many times where people give up because they don't like the feeling of like being a nuisance. And I've done this before, not that it's
You
related
have
to
to be a
hair, but
nuisance. You
you're
have to
like,
be a
oh,
nuisance.
I don't want to reply again because I've messaged them like three times, and is that annoying? It probably is, but it make them reply.
Exactly. And I talked to a stylist and she said, never be scared. Never feel like you're worrying somebody. Because they might not, you
Mm,
thinking that they got the information and they might not have even gotten the email. A lot of times I was emailing people and it was the wrong email. So it could have
uh,
been operator error. It could have been my fault. You know what I'm saying? So just making sure that you have the correct information to connect to people and just don't give up. Just keep trying until you figure it out.
yeah, no, that's good for people to know they need to be consistent as well.
Yeah.
I think that's really good advice for stylists to take home. But for the customers who are listening now, for those of them that want to be like better advocates for their own hair, especially in like high stakes settings like say weddings or photo shoots and things like that, what should they look out for when choosing a hairstylist?
Do your research. I mean, Google is my best friend and it should be everybody else's best friend. And looking at their work, making sure that
Mm,
that's what you want. And when it comes to like weddings and stuff like that, I'm always going to do a consultation. So I'm not going to just do your hair off
mm,
the fly. I want to know
mm,
exactly what you want. We're going to do a trial. When it comes
mm,
to like editorial work, we do mood boards. We talk about exactly what we want to do, even though
right.
sometimes when you're shooting, things can change a little bit, but at least you
Hmm.
have some kind of mood board, some kind of itinerary, or like I said, mood board that can kind of have you give you an idea of what we're working with. And it might
Yeah,
change a little bit, but yeah, I want to know what I'm doing before I'm doing it every time.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
well, yeah,
No,
every time. Mm-hmm.
I think that again, like that ties into some of the other things that we were saying earlier, but I think that's a really good note for customers to finish on because that will make them think, what are the ways that I can be more like proactive with like looking for that information and also sharing as much as they can with the stylist because there is this thing of people shying away from consultations and I'm like, no, that's how you both learn about each
I
other and you both
love,
understand each
yeah,
other.
like you don't know if I'm a good fit, or I don't know if you're a good fit if we don't have a consultation.
Yeah.
So you don't know if I can do what you're asking for if we don't have a consultation. So you don't want to just
Mm,
jump in and pay, or, do, especially like weddings. You definitely want to do a
yeah,
consultation with something that you're going to remember for the rest of your life. so,
100%. A
so
hundred
yeah,
percent. You need
yeah,
to for sure.
it is so very important to do a consultation.
So, well, yeah, everybody, you have heard it. I feel like we've heard this on several episodes, but you've heard it again. Consultations are important. Make sure stylists, make sure you're offering them customers. If you see them, make sure that you're taking them. And yeah, and everybody make sure that you're kind of paying attention to those signs. But I have one last question. Our time is like
Okay.
flown by. But I can imagine that you've been involved in a lot of projects, and I can imagine that there's so many more that you're in. So what's next for you? What's like the next big thing?
Like I said, I am on kind of like a hiatus. I'm kind of like chilling a little bit, so I haven't really been
Mm,
doing a lot of work lately.
mm,
But I do want to focus on New York Fashion Week that's coming up in
nice.
September. And
Okay.
so, just kind of putting my information out there, hopefully to get a paid job.
Right.
So that's the goal, but I definitely want to be in that atmosphere this year. So even if I don't get a job, which that's the goal, I want to be
Mm,
in the space. I want to be able to be in New York during that time so that if a job comes
mm,
up, even if I don't get it before I get there, I'm there and I can get right to the job. So
yeah.
that's really what I'm focusing on just right now this year. That's probably the biggest thing this year because I'm, like I said, I'm just trying to figure it all out and regroup
Yeah.
this year.
No, I mean that's fine. It's also, I think, good for other stylists to hear that you are taking that break to like rest and recharge and recalibrate, because rest is such an important part of both the stylist and the customers' lives, and we have to
Mhm.
do what we have to do to keep our bodies in one piece. So
Mhm.
no, by all means, I think that's great for them to hear. But like I said, that's all of our questions. We've kind of flown by in about less just like 45 minutes, which is
Oh wow.
we've gone by it so quickly. But I just wanted to say a huge thank you to coming on, sharing your advice, sharing your knowledge with our community.
Absolutely. Anytime. Thank you for inviting me.
No, like I said, we're super happy to happy and lucky to have you. And I mean, for all of our listeners, for everybody who has tuned in, who has listened, who has watched from beginning to end, again, a huge thank you to you for being a part of our community, for showing up. If any part of this conversation has like really resonated with you, then please share, like, follow. The more people we reach, the more people we can help. So we always appreciate you for that. But thank you again to our community and to Keisha, and we will see you all on the next episode.
Thank you.